Okay, if you remember, about 2 months ago, we talked about this article which said Algorand excelling with MiCA compliant stablecoins, and we talked about why is this thing going to be so huge for Algorand. And recently, Coinbase actually notified European users of the restriction of stablecoins that do not meet MiCA requirements. Now, in this video, I'm going to once more remind you what is happening in here and why I love Algorand and what they're doing in the stablecoin environment. So with that said, hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're having a great time with your family and loved ones. And first things first, what is MiCA or MiCAR? This stands for Market in Crypto Assets Regulations, and it's basically a regulatory framework for stablecoins. Now, you might say, well, okay, in the crypto market, we do not need any regulation, and I kind of agree with you, but when it comes to stablecoins, I'm actually more in favor of having very strict regulations. And that is exactly why MiCA in Europe is doing. Now, in about 2 months ago, I actually talked about it in my video and told you the main important roles. And the main role, if you remember, was full backing and reserves, meaning stablecoins, according to MiCAR, must be fully backed by reserves, ensuring that the value of issued tokens matches the assets held. Also, reserves must be sufficiently liquid and secure to meet redemption requests. Also, issuers must hold reserves in low risk and highly liquid assets, such as, this is a very important point, cash or government bonds. Now, here is a very important point. You might say, well, okay, according to this rule, Tether is good, but it really isn't. In fact, if you remember, 2 months ago, Coinbase said that they are actually delisting stablecoins in Europe that do not comply with MiCAR regulations like USDT from Tether. So what does it mean? Now it means that in the next couple of days, we're not going to have Tether in Europe anymore. Instead, we are going to have some better alternatives. And those are USDCa or EURD, which are, this is the main point, Algorand's stablecoins. So basically in Europe, there is going to be a huge demand soon for a new stablecoin. And I fully believe that USDCa and EURD are going to actually absorb a good amount of those demands. And since you're going to pay the fees by Algorand, that will ultimately lead to the price appreciation of the token in the mid to long term. And for example, that's why you are in TRX seeing some slow and steady moves on the upside in the last couple of years. I think Algorand is definitely on the right direction when it comes to a stablecoin. And I do actually believe that the next big thing in the crypto market is going to be stablecoins, and the projects that are active in that area are going to be absolutely successful in the future, again, in the mid to long term. That's why I love Algorand, and I fully believe that they are going to be a big player in Europe when it comes to stablecoins. So overall, extremely positive news for Algorand. And if you remember, we talked about this original article 2 months ago when we were right around here in mid-October. And what happened? Soon we got a huge move on the upside. And I'm not going to say that this was just because of those articles. No, in a lot of coins in the crypto market, in this period of time, we got huge moves on the upside. But I also think that that article did have some effects causing this big move up. Now, in terms of Elliott Waves, you know what are my stance on Algorand. I am extremely bullish in the mid to long term, meaning probably in the next 6 months, and in the long term, I mean probably in the next couple of years. Now, if you are a new viewer, I should tell you that, for example, if you want to argue that we're going to have our final bottom around here, maybe this is like a very important support, then okay, we must be able to find from the lowest line here a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up. This specific example is a normal 5 wave. The rules for it are, we shouldn't have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of impulsive structure, wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. And in terms of the subwaves, you know it. We're gonna have 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5. And for wave 2 and 4, for our corrections, we can have different possibilities. Let's say maybe like a WXY into 4 and an ABC structure into wave 2. Understood? Okay. let's zoom out a bit more and see what are we having. First, in the long term, from the highest high in here to somewhere around the lowest low, about let's say 8.5 cents, I believe we are having in Algorand a very clear A, B, C zigzag structure, which the subways for it are going to be like this. 5 down into A, correction for wave B, maybe ABC, maybe WXY, maybe even a triangle, doesn't matter, and then another 5 wave down into our C leg. And if I just go on the live chart, you can definitely identify the waves in here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into A, WXYZ in form of potentially a triple zigzag into wave B, and from the side we are having another solid 5 wave down into our C leg, which suggests that some sort of a bottom is in. Is this the only bullish sign in the mid to long term? No. What do we have off of the lowest low? An extremely clear 5 wave impulsive structure up, as you can see with all the sub waves, and then I believe this whole move down is just a correction structure. Probably I would say a WXY in form of either a flattened zigzag or maybe a double zigzag, doesn't really matter. And on a high degree, basically we are dealing with an extremely bullish setup. This can be wave 1, this is a 2, and at the moment, well, we are on our way up to complete the sub waves for a huge wave 3, and then after it we're going to need correction for 4, and this is going to be our blow off top into wave 5. And it's very important to understand that I believe these waves are actually going to happen in this cycle, meaning probably in the next couple of months. This is why I am so optimistic on Algorand when it comes to Elliott waves and technical analysis, and also in fundamentals. We talked about it so many times. I believe Algorand is going to be a big player in the future. Now let's go on some lower time frames, maybe H4, and see what is happening. So here's the deal. I believe that we are having from here to here a wave 1. This whole move down is a correction for wave 2, and at the moment we are on our way to complete the subwaves for a larger degree wave 3, and I just do not believe that we have completed it yet. And then we're gonna get after it a correction for 4, another big move up into wave 5 in order to complete the subwaves for, if you remember, I said earlier, that big wave 3 that we talked about. Now let's go on some lower time frames, maybe H1, and see what is happening in the short term. If you remember in the previous video on Algorand, we were somewhere around here, and I was saying, well, okay, maybe we are going to get another move up, but this may not be bullish. We can find a bullish scenario in here and say maybe this is like 1, 2, and followed by that another 1, 2, and then we're going to continue our bull run in order to complete a series of wave 3s. We talked about that possibility in the previous video, but I said what I like to happen in Algorand is actually another move on the downside. And as you can see, not only we didn't actually get this wave 3 and 4 and 5, also from here we actually went down and took the lowest low. Now the question is, are we going to, because of this move down, be absolutely bearish? No, definitely not. I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, whatever move on the downside that we are having in these regions in Algorand is just going to be a correction structure, and after it's over, or maybe it's over already, I'm going to talk about it in today's video. We are going to get a big move up in order to continue the bull run, and the next target I think might be about 150% higher starting from the current point. Now I said maybe the bottom is set. Here is how. Let's just do this. Excuse me. There we go. I can tell you, well, okay, maybe in here we are dealing with a correction structure on the upside. And for example, we can say maybe this is going to be, if I just take this one, an A, B, C in form of a flat structure. And this can actually be an ABC down to about here. There we go. Followed by that, we said this is an ABC up, and we can actually say this is maybe our second A, B, C structure on the downside, which means on a higher degree, we are having once more, you know it, a W, X, Y, probably in form of a double zigzag. Now, this is a very important point. I need you to pay full attention to what I'm about to say. I can actually find in this quick bounce back a 5 wave on the upside and tell you after it, either from here or here, doesn't really matter. We are having a correction structure down, and if you want to say our correction started from this point, fair enough, this can be a very clear A, B, C zigzag. Also, this is another very clear 5 wave on the upside, something like this. And this could be a potential corrective movement. So what's the idea in here? If the bottom is in on Algorand's price chart, then we are probably dealing with a series of 1-2s. This can be 1, 2, and then soon we're going to get a decent move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5 in order to complete the sub waves for a larger degree wave 3 and then correction for 4, another move up into wave 5, which again, I believe in these moves, we are going to reach to somewhere around potentially $1 because this is actually our next important resistance area in terms of classic TA. Now, this scenario can be in play, but it is going to get invalidated if we get a move down starting from the current point in order to take this low about, let's say, 37 cents. If we take this low at that point, I need you to be open to the possibility of this move down continuing for quite a bit in order to maybe have once more a retest of this very important level. And then after it, we are going to count on a very, very strong bounce back. So if you see something like this in Algorand, I need you to be calm. There is nothing to be worried about. I fully believe this whole move down is just going to be a correction structure and our bull run is just far, far from over. In fact, I would argue this is just the beginning of it. But again, as long as we're not taking this low, we can actually argue, you know what, maybe the bottom is in and we are going to continue our uptrend in Algorand soon. So let's have our final conclusion and wrap up today's video. According to the recent news, Coinbase is now notifying European users that they are going to delist stablecoins that do not meet MiCA requirements. And that is going to be USDT Tether. Now, instead of that, we are going to have some better alternatives there. And those are going to be Algorand's stablecoins, meaning USDCa and also EURD. Of course, we are going to have many other stablecoins and not all Europeans are going to use these ones. But I do believe that in the future, Algorand in Europe is actually going to be a big player when it comes to stablecoins. And again, since you are going to pay the fees by Algorand's token, that will lead ultimately to price appreciation of Algorand's token in the mid to long term. And in my opinion, this is fantastic for Algorand, and in the mid to long term it is going to have huge effects. And in the short term, well, when we are having a bull run, people are looking for narratives, and I do believe this is going to create an insanely bullish narrative, and we definitely on the live chart do have the structures for it. It's just the fact that maybe in the short term in here, according to the patterns, we may get some moves on the downside. However, this is a very important point. As long as we're not taking this low around 37 cents, we can actually be bullish and say this is a bullish setup and we are having a series of 1-2s, which suggests soon we can expect a big move up in order to complete the sub waves for this larger degree wave 3 and then a correction for 4, another move up into wave 5 in order to have maybe even from here another 150% move on the upside. I think that is definitely possible. So for the short term, all eyes on this lower region here and see whether we are going to take it or not. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Algorand's chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next video, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.